First question is from APAL683. What are some of the craziest fitness myths that you've heard from clients?
Oh, I got one.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
I got one that won't go away too.
Let me go first. So this was like a thing for a minute. It was like a year or two where this kind of became a thing. So I was training this lady. First time I heard about it, and she goes, my friend lost, I don't know how much weight, 30 pounds or whatever, doing this new diet called the HCG diet.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when this was a thing?
This is still a thing.
Yeah. So I was like, HCG diet?
I had a sister-in-law who just did this like a couple years ago.
Still?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm
500
like,
calories, and they run you on HCG.
Bro, let me go through this. So she goes, HCG. So I'm like, HCG? I'm like, you mean human chorionic gonadotropin or whatever? That's like the human hormone. Women produce it when they're pregnant. That's what the whatever pee sticks or whatever pick up. And
right.
If you give it to a man, it boosts testosterone. So athletes will take it sometimes to come off of testosterone or whatever. So I'm like, is it this? It can't be that. Like, I don't think they could prescribe that for diet purposes or whatever. Well, sure enough, that's what it was. And she says the HCG makes women lose so much weight or whatever. So she's like, should I do it? I'm like, okay, they're going to inject you with this hormone or this precursor. I don't think it's a good idea. Definitely not. Doesn't sound like a good idea. Let me look at the whole plan. Mm-hmm. So she brings me the plan. It's 500 calories a day.
Yeah.
500 calories a day, and then they inject you with HCG. Look, here's the deal. If you're on 500 calories a day, they can inject you with anything.
And you'll lose weight.
It doesn't matter what it is. They can inject you with, I could put you on the vitamin B12 diet. I could put you on anything I inject you with, 500 calories, you lose weight. So I tried to talk to her about this and said, look, you're going to really hammer your metabolism. You're going to end up losing a lot of muscle. And there's no way you can eat 500 calories to maintain. So when you go back, you're going to gain the weight back. She didn't want to listen to me. She ended up doing it, and I had a lot of damage control to do with her afterwards. But it was a thing there for a second. I'm surprised they're still doing it.
Yeah, no, it's still a thing. Like I said, my sister-in-law was just maybe it's 2 or 3 years now that she came to me, and she was already in the middle of it. Like, she was dropping weight, and we were all at like a family event, and everyone was like, oh, you look great. How do you doing? She's like, oh, my doctor's got me on this HCG diet. I'm like, and of course, I peek up, what? Explain to me. Mm-hmm. Same thing. She explains it to me. That was actually the first I had heard of it. So you heard of it way before I did. And
she gained the weight back?
She, of course, and more. So... And she was already in the middle of it, so I couldn't get her to stop. And of course, a doctor told her. Yeah. So who's her brother-in-law.
That's the part that makes me upset.
Yeah, doctor tells her. So of course, I'm not going to win this argument, but I'm explaining to her. I was like, sis, do you really think that you're going to eat 500 calories for the rest of your life? Like, well, no, I just want to get down to this weight. That's what they all say, right? Yeah. I just want to get down to this weight, and then figure out from there. It's like, no, that's not how your metabolism works. So your metabolism will screw me up, and then we'll figure it out from there. That's like what you're doing right now. Is you're going to get used to eating 500 calories, and then when you go back to normal life, and especially this family, I'm like, we drink and eat and we do all these festivities all the time. Like, there's no way. I mean, you crush your weekly intake in one weekend with this family. I was like, there's no way you can sustain off this. So yeah, no, she ended up putting it all back on. So that's a terrible one. Here's another one that I still see this. This is really popular still, is these body wraps.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, the claims that they make, the amount of weight and calories it burns and everything, and it's really just water weight, right? And I didn't know exactly. It's hilarious. And it's like they wrap you in like saran wrap your entire body, and they sit you on like a massage table, and I think you sit on there for like a good solid hour or whatever.
Or put like a heat suit,
they wrap you in like
I had a few clients
like a cocoon, and it's funny because it's one of those things. This is like how
it's a temporary illusion.
Yeah, exactly.
You definitely look
exactly. That's why it's thinner. Like it's how easily we are manipulated, and why things that people can feel or see. We're so easily sold on right away, because if you do go, completely suffocate your body for an hour and heat it up like super hot and sweat, 3 pounds or 5 pounds of water out of you, and then you get up and you look at yourself in the mirror. Yeah, you're gonna look smaller. Your clothes will feel. But all you've done is just like leaked out a bunch of water weight. As soon as you go pound a gallon of water at one point, you're gonna put it all right back on. And so
it's very temporary.
Yeah, and they charge big money, and the claims that they make for how many calories that you're burning in and out. Get the hell out of here with that.
Yeah. Another one is even just liposuction. I remember as a trainer, I was young. I was 18, 19, and I was doing this body fat test on this woman. And back in those days, actually, it was the same kind of body fat test we did later on. So it was like bicep, tricep, subscapula, suprailiac crest. So those are the 4 points that you do with the caliper test, right? So the bicep, tricep, that's easy to know where that is. The suprailiac crest, that's right above the hip, and then subscapula, that's below the shoulder blade. So you test all these points, and I remember this woman came in, and she was overweight, and so she did a free body fat test with me. And I tested her bicep fold, and then I went to her tricep fold. And it was very strange because she had more fat on her bicep than she did on her tricep. And that never happens. You store more in your tricep, especially for a woman. And here I am as a kid. I'm 18 years old, and I did this, and I was like, this is very weird, and her arm looks strange. She was overweight, but the tricep was leaning to the bicep. So I sat her down, and we started talking. I said, have you ever had liposuction? And she looked at me like I was some kind of wizard. How did you know? I said, well, I tested your tricep, and your tricep fold was less than your bicep. It looks to me like you got fat sucked out of your tricep. And when you went and gained the weight back, you don't lose the ability to store body fat. You just store it in other places now. So then what ends up happening is you store body fat, and now you have this weird fat storage on your body because it doesn't store it like it naturally would. And she's like, no, that's what happened to me.
People that have sought out liposuction hate to hear this conversation, but I would tell, I'm like, I'd seen enough clients do it so much. I'm like, honestly, you look better 30 pounds overweight
with normal fat storage,
naturally balanced the way your body genetically is made and designed to store body fat, than to lipo and then put 30 pounds on the body.
It was the same sort of a thing. Like I used to train a bit of obese clients like that would come in with a stomach staple, and that was their answer to shedding an extreme amount of weight, because that was, I mean, obviously that was the big pressing issue, was like, we got to get this weight off. And so the doctor would sell them on being able to staple and like shrink the size of their stomach. They could only fit so much in there. They could eat whatever they wanted. So it just seems like, well, I just get full, so I'm going to be good. And then this is, how I'm going to live my life from then on, and I'm going to keep shrinking. And, and the weight definitely came off, and it all went that direction. And I'm just like trying to tell them to, be reasonable about this, like think about building muscle, think about long-term behaviors and habits and things like that. And inevitably, most of them that I've stayed in contact with have gained in spite of the size of their stomach, or had stretched the stomach back to its original size.
Yeah, the worst one that I've ever seen, though, the worst was the tube that was attached to the stomach.
Yeah. We talked about that when we first started Mind Pump.
It's attached to the stomach, and it comes out of your body, and you literally eat, and then you go and empty your stomach into the toilet.
Yeah.
It's bulimia.
It's bulimia. Yeah.
It's bulimia. You're just not throwing it up. You're putting it through a
medical
tube.
bulimia.
Crazy.
Yeah.